He's always there. So if JDXL loses versus Singularity, not only is going to shift the tables as well in the standings, but we have a lot to talk about. Now, let's talk about it. Look into me, Aragon.
Okay, for sure.
New mid liner, Singularity looking really good. I don't know.
So I did prep. I kind of like half predicted maybe Eminus would get subbed out after this game, after his game on Monday. So I did a bit of prep, like if they introduced Morozku, I think his name's pronounced. And I realized something. I realized regardless, they should just camp mid. Because if it's Eminus, he's going to tilt. If it's Morozku, he's kind of disconnected with his team because he's the new guy on the block, right? So I think regardless, you play for your Lucian Lilia, just like you did versus Dusty, and you camp the hell out of him.
But if you allow Lilia to go through on the champion select, that is a total count.
Yes.
There is an hashtag total count. No?
Bring it back to Singularity, boys. We gotta reignite the good spirit of the Danish orc, man. Come back to us. I would love to. Sorry, back on Singularity. But no, on a more serious note, I think for JDXL, I'm very excited for Team Morozku. And if they play around him well, they can definitely have a new carry they have unearthed here. Because we saw him at the European Masters. We saw him in the Ultra League have so much success with these assassins. And we know if an assassin gets ahead, they can really snowball the game. So if they get Morozku ahead early, I think they are very comfortable.
There's a big question mark on what Morozku can bring into this team. Obviously, you heard it on the interview at the beginning of the show that they still are not aware of what Morozku can bring. But from we know from Morozku, he's an assassin. So if they play for the assassin and the assassin plays with the team, this could be a better GDXL.
Yeah, so this kind of ties in with my point I actually want to make about Dan specifically. I think Dan has been playing best when he's been on Facilitator Champions with a good amount of early game. So if they put him on good early game that can help get Morozku through the lane phase as maybe this assassin pick, I think that's the best bet to win. So relating to the assassin picks, yes, but Dan on Facilitators as well.
I would like to see that. So I know you want to, Duckling.
That felt good.
These guys are going to break my table. I'm telling you right now, if that happens, I need security. I need security. As the bans are coming out, JDXL versus Singularity with only one win. On the other side, JDXL with 3 losses out of a sudden. Morozku on the mid lane, Vincent on the bot side. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the Volibear. We've highlighted Dan being so great on the champion so many times today. His last real chance of playing it, and it has instantly been banned away. A great ban here from Singularity.
So I also think the Seraphine ban makes sense. Obviously, she's really broken. But also to take away from Zpikee, we've seen he has been defaulting. Like, if you look at his match history throughout the entire split, he has been playing scaling. And now we finally see the only way Singularity can beat JDXL is through that Lilia, and they finally banned it.
Finally, someone looks into the Bambi. They're like, nah, might as well take it out. Put Scrudy on a different jungler. Let's see what he can do on a different one. Senna is going to be removed away from Venzer. He's really good at piloting that one. He also builds for the Kraken. He builds for the damage. But Lucian away. So what do we have open? Because Wukong is there. Maybe Scrudy can facilitate with that one.
Potentially, the Wukong potentially. I mean, he's shown he plays Kha'Zix, Wukong, Viega recently, right? So I think that maybe potentially those or something else entirely. I think, though, specifically for XL, we might see Draven. Venza Draven has been permabanned, but not this game. So maybe we see that too. The blind pick GP, we know how good this is. Usually teams, actually XL usually ban GP, so I'm surprised it's gone through.
But you have so much things to ban, like you have to take the Seraphine, you have to take the Lilia, and then the Lucian, you're kind of worried as well because Mirza has been kind of a beast with that one. And you bring the Zeri, you know she needs movement speed, you're facing GP as well, it's a complicated one.
And I think Sari obviously in the meta has gone down a slight notch after the hotfix in 12.12b. But for me, I think just it's important to highlight this champion does the exact same amount of damage, just stacks that movement speed a little bit slower. So we saw with the Tilla as well, right on X7. This champion can do a lot of damage. I'm surprised they don't go for the Yuumi, but I guess, you know, getting one of the stronger junglers in the meta, who we now know can still do something in the early game after Diamond procs incredible performance on it, the Wukong being locked in for Dan.
So yeah, I do expect the Yuumi to be picked away because it just synergizes too well with Wukong and Zeri teamfight. And now we see the Twitch. It could be Twitch Yuumi as well. Twitch is really good in the meta right now, specifically, honestly, he just came in as a counter to Zeri. Because Twitch, pre-durability update, he couldn't function. He needed the durability to get through lane phases, and on top of that, he needs the free scaling lane of a Zeri because she's so weak. So we see the standard pick into the Zeri with the Twitch there.
If that is the pick, that's going to be interesting, allowing not only the Twitch to work with the Yuumi, but also the GP if he gets ahead. There you go, Yuumi has been picked on the other side. What do you pair this Zeri with? Because Nautilus is still available, and you know if you're facing a Yuumi, you can just flash, boom, put
Could
the
be
anchor.
the Nautilus or potentially the Renata. I think both are really good. I would definitely bet on either of those two. Nautilus, there you go. Surprised Renata's getting through draft though.
That is a big question as well. They focus on so much and they allow the Nautilus to go through versus the Yuumi, the pick in the Yuumi. So the bans are coming in. Probably looking for the top lane because, well, on one side for Singularity to ban away the top. The other one, where should they be focusing? Maybe the jungle?
Yeah, the jungle seems to be, for me to be the easiest one to target here. There are only a set amount of real meta junglers at the moment, Udyr being one who has risen a bit in priority with his more tanky build, and Scrooty now has to show more of his flexibility because he has had these Lilia games. We know he can play something else, but the Lilia has by far been his best champion, so with that being taken away, and if they can continue to trim this jungle pool even further, I think we'll have to go on something a little bit more spicy, a little bit more unexpected, simply due to the amount of bans that have been poured into the jungle pool.
The Kale, a good answer versus
I was about to say, I think we could probably see some bans to the counters to GP in Shyvana or maybe Kale. I didn't know if Kryze played Kale or not, but I'm pretty sure he could pilot Shyvana. She's relatively simple. So yeah, it looks like we're seeing the Kale ban. And then the Kha'Zix as a target ban into Scrooty because he's shown he plays it. And
yeah, he has to dive deep into his champion pool if he wants to pick something for the jungle. We still have a few of them available. What do you reckon could be picked for Scrooty then?
You need something to match the early, potentially. Viego, he did get nerfed, so it's pretty hard to say. I don't think there's... The pool is definitely pinched, right? There's so many bans to junglers. You've got your Volley, your Udyr, your Kha'Zix. I think maybe Viego's the only real option left. It kind of synergizes pretty well with the Yuumi. And there we go. There's the playmaking with the Camille into the GP plus setup.
No, that's a call out to you. You know, he knows you play the Renekton. I was looking for this one because when he played this previously, he was a menace.
That could be a...
Oh my.
So the Zeri's going mid?
So what they've done is they've flexed Zeri mid, and now you can't get through lane as Yuumi into Kalista. This is one of the worst lanes in the game. You cannot play Yuumi into Kalista. You just die. This is an unbelievably intelligent flex from XL.
This could be a Torok really smart, 500 IQ, or a Torok out.
Yeah, it could be Torok in.
We still
Let's
don't
see
know.
What Oak and the boys has to say about that in terms of the fan on the street segment.
Person
Obviously,
is
the
joining.
hover there, but let's see
Person
what
is
ends up getting
joining.
locked in. Now, you mentioned the Kalista on the bot lane, right? For me, what I'm interested in seeing is here, how strong is the Zeri mid lane now? Because it was there for a short while. We also saw Eminence put it out once beforehand, but it has been nerfed, right? Zeri receives a nerf, the crit doesn't do that much damage through the wall anymore. So what is the build you want to go for? Is it still the AP that you feel comfortable enough in? And depending on what they lock in here, they've just gone for the Silas. So that's a Zeri now move to the top lane.
We are actually seeing a Draft Kingdom hit by Torok. A Silas with a Swainel is unbelievably broken. We have an unbeatable bot lane for the side of SNG. Kalista just rolls Yuumi lane. And now we have a counterpick top side. Absolute draft domination from Torok. It isn't going to be close.
No. They're flipping it again.
Oh,
Regardless.
no.
Rolling it around. It is the Shy top.
Oh, this is so interesting. This is so interesting because you put on the spear on the den. Nah, why are you baiting me? Torok, you're fired. Last predictions.
Honestly, I cannot predict Singularity just because JDXL has been so annoying in this draft to read, but I think that Torok has got this Draft Kingdom in the bag. I'm hashtag Torok in.
Yeah.
I believe JDXL will take it.
Full belief in Torok. Torok drafts.
Hashtag Torok in, boys. Or Torok to...
You guys are mad. Not moms, I'm telling you. Well, let's jump into this game. JDXL versus Singularity on one side. The top team that is injured right now versus Singularity that is building up some momentum. Who's going to take it? I don't know, but the casters will probably know because I have no idea what is happening right now.
Well, I can tell you one thing with confidence. You can take Eminence out of XL, but you can't take XL out of Eminence.
If you two...
They will take the Zeri out of the bot lane, they'll put her mid, and now they'll put her top.
If you two have been Toroked, you can call the NLC helpline or really contact us on Twitter, probably with angry tweets and memes, and we'll laugh about it with you because what the hell? You bring in this new guy into mid lane who is in his rookie year. He's been asked to play, he goes onto a Silas, something he's comfortable with, and you get this Zeri top lane, Kalista bot lane, madness.
Right, Fun fact about Mrosku, of course, before we get into the more nitty-gritty, he has a solo queue account called Yone, Silas, Akali.
Yes, he does.
These three only. And Torok has also named him the Polish Chovy. So last time he came in with the Salas, it was a little bit underwhelming. Now the guy is on it again. Let's see what he can bring.
Onto the Rift we go to see how it all plays out. Because, of course, this is a hell of a debut. It's a very Torok draft. It's a draft kingdom, according to Aragon. It's certainly a bold one.
I don't know about that, man. I've not seen Azozeri before.
We saw the fan on the street from XL where Don Jake was complaining about his mum Torocking. When this is what we call Torocking, where you draft like this.
He also said that if XL lose here, he will go with the...
With that to M&M. I don't know how...
So he will go from number 1 NLC to a team that's getting relegated. I don't know if that's worth it, man.
I hate to say, but we have talked about the XL curse just a touch. And of course, you know, with Dusty continuing to look very good, Riddle also, you know, while they lost today, certainly putting up a fight. XL have drafted themselves an XL, a Torok draft. They've slotted in their new mid laner on a comfort pick. Let's see what they can do again. It's against the last place team, but...
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
MNS out, Mrosku in. Now, what the playstyle was for JDXL with MNS is very much what a lot of times Caps does for G2. He will usually take the 1 versus 1 or the 1 versus 2. He will kill 1 or 2 members, which means that then G2, and therefore JDXL, because we're comparing the two playstyles between Caps and MNS, will play with a numbers advantage on the map. Now, this a lot of times has backfired, because when you're really trying to kill somebody, a lot of times it backfires and you get killed, as we saw on Monday when MNS was piloting the Talia. Now, Mrosku coming into the team, we need to keep a close eye on how the dynamic of the team changes. Is it going to be the same thing? Because the dude plays really aggressive picks. Silas, Yone, Akali. We talked about this. He played Kiana over at EU Masters over in spring. So this guy does like to play his aggressive assassins, which could pretty much function the same way like MNS did. Venzer, FTG, that level 1 Kalista, very potent.
Brutal damage, of course. Nautilus with the passive and the dredge line, very nasty to deal with. Of course, Zpikee survives. He's still got himself a Yuumi to help heal up. But right now, it is very much XL with that bot side pressure. And while we're going to, of course, continue to talk about Mrosku, we'll continue to see how he does in this game. This draft, in a lot of ways, it's about these double AD carries in the side lanes, and a big play already. Exhaust cleansed away by Venza. Continue to hop forward to get even more damage. Rend comes down, and that is 3 summoners, everything but the flash from Singularity.
Everything but the flash for Singularity, but look at where Dan is pathing. He's pathing to the top side of the map. Look at how intelligently Venzer and FTG have been building up the wave. The third one is going to just camp right now on the map.
Zpikee, before that, like the moment I looked at it, had 0 CS. He hadn't even touched the wave yet.
That's exactly how they use this Kalista in the LPL. Level 1 aggression into not allowing your opponents to touch the wave. That's what has been happening so far. They've built up 3 waves. Dan is hovering towards the bot side of the map. We could be looking for a dive. Look on your left side screen, though, because Scrooty is also pathing towards the bot side, and Dan is just about to cross a ward.
Intelligent ward over where the Scuttle Crab will be spawning as well to spot Dan out, so they know that's the play. It was already kind of foretold by the wave state, but Scrooty will be around and off vision. Dan needs to be careful here, stepping into this. Jinzhao early will throw down the Warrior Trickster the moment that wind becomes lightning comes through.
Very clever from Scrooty. He delays a little bit, he's clear towards red buff, but very importantly, he slots down the ward, like you mentioned, also initialize that will spot down towards that bot lane. This is bread and butter JDXL. They will shove in the first 2 to 3 waves. They will try to tower dive, especially when they're a Draven or a Kalista. They want to be snowballing that early laning phase early on. So Dan pathing bot lane, trying to pull up a dive. Scrooty, very nice read right there on the situation. Saves his team from a very grim scenario, I would like to say. Still, that Twitch is behind 5CS, but we all know that 5CS does not matter when you go to 2 to 3 items and you become a complete menace later on with the Tom and Jerry in team fights.
You do indeed, but Venza did get the early back, got to get a hold of an additional longsword, got himself that refillable pot and a control ward, and will be able to continue shoving as FGG takes this opportunity on the early back to try and get in and clear some of these wards. All the while though, Scrooty does manage to, having defused that play in the bot side, get a hold of that topside scuttle, and This is a different pick for this guy. This is not the Kha'Zix. This is not the Lilia, these kind of slightly more scaling level 60
they're all
jungles.
banned away.
Exactly. And instead he's going back towards still an aggressive jungler, but it's a much earlier spiking champion with less late game carry potential.
I'd like to say, the way that I see a lot of the Zinza, depending on what you pair it up with, it can also be used as a mid-shield or a second life. For example, the fact that a lot of the Zinzas are paired up with Gwen's. Gwen creates a bubble in front of her, another one by a Zinzao. You cannot really cross to go to that aid carry in the backline. And now it's the same situation with the Swain. The Swain ultimate, later on when you have a Rylai's, becomes really difficult to cross through, to get to that Twitch, to get onto Zpikee, so he can actually free hit in these team fights. So pairing up that Zinza ultimate with the Swain ultimate is going to be very difficult for that Kalista to pass through them to actually reach the Twitch.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, perhaps try again, as Dan is on vision, though. Very well warded, honestly, by Singularity now twice in a row. Morozcu's here, but so is Scroody. This is going to be a very spotted dive at level 4. Teleport now coming through. FGG hooking his way out, but Dan stuck onto the tower, but of course, it's just the Warrior Trickster. Visions of Empire, though, takes FGG down to very low HP, but Singularity once again ward off the dive.
Something to really mention here, though, is that Morozcu, level 5, ditching the wave mid lane, heading towards the bot side of the map, trying to pull up this tower dive. These are new moves that we're seeing from JDXL, which a 4-man dive towards the bot side of the map. Morozcu trying to cut off Merza as well.
Does get a hold of him, but I don't know how well this will play out. The Never Move does go wide. Took me a second there to remember the name of that one. Death's Hand as well does do a little bit of damage, but nothing too much more. And back to the mid lane they go. Nice attempted trade, though, by Morozcu nonetheless.
Meanwhile, Scroody, an entire level up on Dan. 10 CS almost difference between the two junglers. Of course, Dan has tried to pull out 2 tower dives towards the bottom of the map. Scroody and Singularity have read them really well and responded accordingly without necessarily losing any CS of experience. If anything, Scroody is the true victor out of all these shenanigans. And Morozcu
Level 6 hit while he goes in, but that'll be a Demonic Ascension apiece. Trading back and forth, but this is a Silas. He'll be able to heal more than you are right now. Scroody is down, but Dan's coming around. Can they still keep healing? Morozcu will not reactivate for now, and it'll just be ultimates traded, but the flash from Morozcu did have to come down as well.
Scroody just stayed around for Merza to push in that wave because Merza did not have a lot
Sidestep. FGG goes quite deep for this as a result. A very long-range pierce lands onto Zpikee, but a bop and block will allow him to trade back well enough.
Yeah, so again, Merza didn't have a lot of mana in this mid lane trade, so they just needed to make sure that they pushed before the Wukong showed up. Honestly, I have been extremely impressed by the presence of Scroody in Singularity.
So good.
He has been reading ganks so well. His ganking ability in previous games with the Lilia has been on spot, on the correct waves, on the correct timing, repeat back to back when someone is missing. The guy clearly has a really good understanding of wave state, ganks and counter ganks. And I think that Singularity are obviously coming in with a chance. And reiterating, this is the #1 team in the NLC versus the last team in the NLC. Only 1 win for Singularity. And so far, JDXL have been known to be notorious for the early games. Singularity have not given them an inch.
No, the gold is pretty damn close. Of course, Venza has still taken a lot of the pressure and converted that into a CS lead, but Zpikee's kind of like, okay, I've got a cull, I'll try and survive. The Gangplank's surviving. This Xin Zhao has managed to get himself up to a point of relative strength coming into something like a Herald fight, nice and early, but Dan now taking this opportunity to maybe look at a top lane play with that Herald on the board.
Yeah, I think you're going to need more concrete numbers advantage up there. Scroody towards the bot side of the map. Ooh.
Does manage to come in with the wind, becomes lightning, but of course there was still a Fate's Course, not really any true angle in on that one. But while the Herald's being started by Dan, SNG will take this opportunity to try and start a dragon instead.
If you look towards the top side of the map, I think this makes sense for both teams, right? Christ has been permanently shoving in saves on the top side of the map, so you do have the advantage for JDXL on the top, and the advantage, of course, with Scroody showing down bot lane, shoving Venza and FTG back underneath their tower, means that Singularity have numbers advantage towards the bottom side of the map, which allows them to secure the first dragon of the game. Now, looking at the Rift Herald, you need to be wondering right here, where does it go? Because you have carries all across the board for JDXL. Usually the money would go towards that. Kalista tried to open up the map, use her around these very small width places around the river when the new dragons come up, and we're potentially looking for a successful bot lane dive. So all eyes on Morozcu, all eyes on Dan to see when they're going to be having that bot side of the map again.
To their very best. Scroody is around though, and of course now with FGG recalling, maybe there might have been an angle in there, but decides against it, and I completely agree. See where Dan puts down the Herald, and is a slight gold lead to XL right now, purely from those lane stats. You can see, of course, Cries with the flash and the ghost, with the lane shove, has been playing as top lane AD carries like to do, and doing very well into that so far in the island. Mrozcu as well, honestly, after that attempted little scuffle in mid lane, has done very well to get himself a lead in that mid lane matchup to boot.
I think right here he's going to be taking his very well-deserved blue buff as well to try and contest this mid lane wave. So the problem usually is when you're playing Sylas into ranged, Sylas will be trading a bunch of his HP since he's playing into ranged. He gets a lot of harassment just to be able to push in the wave. The fact that you can Kingslayer onto your opponent to potentially heal back a bunch of that HP that will deal damage is going to be very important. Again, Dan towards that bot side of the map. They really want Zpikee and Person dead. This time, Scrooty on the complete opposite side of the map, heading towards that bot side. Will he be there in time?
Oh, Zpikee really wants to stay in range. They're going to cannon barrage the wave instead to make a Herald drop a little more tricky. And that does mean it's popped, of course, and there's a world to come back and punish. But the Herald stays in inventory. And Singularity hold on again. But again, every time, just costing more CS, more pressure. And Venza continues to be difficult as they look for mid instead.
I just need to say right here that the cover from Singularity is insane. The fact that they have so much scaling in their team, that they have denied XL back-to-back bot lane tower dives. They've kept the Twitch alive. Yes, that Twitch is 40 CS down, but he scales so much better than the Kalista. The Rift Herald has to be popped mid, wherever Scrooty is not, wherever the least numbers advantage are for Singularity, trying to make sure that you pop it before minute 14 to cash in on these tower platings. And that Gangplank ultimate usage was very clever because it will be back up when that Infernal Dragon will be spawning. So very well-timed counter-attacks from Scrooty, very well-timed usage of utility that Singularity have into their disposal to try and keep JDXL's aggression at bay.
Of course, JDXL still have managed to get 2 plates apiece across every lane, so that's great news. And it's Ludent, by the way, as Trouble's eyes went exceptionally wide as she noticed that.
You know what? How we just compared Eminence to Caps and how to eliminate his
I've seen that.
Caps just played Sylas, full glass cannon in the LEC.
Oh, hang on. Cries got hit by the edge of the wind, becomes lightning, but will spark surge over the wall. Dan is now here, can maybe try to turn this around. There will still be an ultimate from Scrooty now popped, and Dan is in very deep by himself. There's a vision of Empire. Dan's just going to die. First blood to Scrooty.
Oh, and this looks so miscoordinated. FTG are coming up. Mirza is being chased off by Mrozcu, and I think JDXL need to call it quits right here. Very uncharacteristic for Dan right there to go in on an engage where they have the numbers disadvantage. Mirza was also pinged by his teammates right there, and Singularity will find the first skill over the #1 seed so far in the NLC, JDXL. This is brilliant news so far.
Double, toil and trouble, cauldron brew, and no, something brew and cauldron bubble. I forget the Macbeth reference. It ruins what I was trying to say.
I think my name would make really nice rhyme in this.
It probably would do. Yeah, you looked at me, it's like, wait, I've actually casting with someone called Trouble. Problematic making this reference. The point I was trying to make was a little bit of black magic coinciding JDXL and the end of regular seasons. Zpikee going to try and extricate themselves from bot lane and does so pretty smoothly. I don't know whether you can still be here, buddy. Venza might have to be a touch afraid, of course.
Oh, Venza might actually get soloed here.
He's around, though, and instead it'll just be a recall. Don't hop into the bush. Don't hop into the bush, is what Zpikee is chanting, and will...
Wait.
Oh, wait, he's still here. Wait. Look, Yuumi and Xin Zhao coming down. They're teleporting. Venza has no idea. He's in so much danger. He's got flash. He's got cleanse. There's a cannon barrage, though. Visions of Empire following afterwards. So much damage coming through, but can he rend his way to victory? Does get the kill, but it'll be a 1-for-1 as he is surely burned out here.
Whoa, that was a lot of utility that Singularity put down the bot side of the map and numbers advantage just to try and get 1 kill onto Venza. And Venza replies, in a 1 versus 4, he takes 1 with him. Look at mid lane. 3 tower platings down. Mrozcu shoves in yet another wave.
We go.
Now in the river, there are not a lot of ultimates available. Only person on the Yuumi has ult.
3v3 available. Dragon Eye Punch skewed by Mirza, but now the Demonic Ascension comes through. So much damage coming down onto Dan. Scrooty with the ultimate all the while. It's a dead FGG. Mrozcu now turning around with his own stolen Demonic Ascension. Dan so low, though. Goes down. Mrozcu gets 1 back. Flash over the wall, but it's still a 2-for-1. Never move. Pulls it back. Blast code after. afterwards. Can he heal up? Cries has turned up from nowhere, but Spikee's respawned, and out of the ambush he comes. Now teleport back from Sips, who's trying to survive. Merza healing up, Death's Hand doing what it can. Spikee in ambush, but the bot side of Venza and the top side of Cries will ensure it's a relatively even trade. 3 for 2 in favor of Singularity, and they got the dragon.
What in the world is going on? JDXL are making all the wrong decisions in this particular game, choosing to fight when crucial ultimates are up. Scurdy has ult, Yuumi has ult. You dive in there, there's too much utility, shielding and healing, and you cannot shut this down that early into the game. FTG dies first, and you see how much Scrudy is regenerating, having that Yuumi on him, getting the shield from the Yuumi passive, and then Roscoe, last second, clutches it with the
go.
FTG. It's bot lane again, initialized.
Spikee with the Zoom, he's trying to heal back up, but Morozku teleports in, it's being unleashed, and I think he's just dead to right person, gets hooked afterwards, and he will be unpersoned, I feel. Instead, he'll be a cadaver, as Morozku gets that one, a fantastic teleport.
Wow, it is another kill for what Tarek said, the Polish Chovy coming in for JDXL. And this is a much better game from the Polish mid laner, slotting straight into that #1 seed of the NLC, JDXL. It seemed a little bit underwhelming seeing him on Wednesday, 1 week apart, and he's making plays. He's clutching moments for his team. He's taking away names, initialize, and yet again, JDXL trying to start the Herald. Screwed is there, Mez is there, Sips is there, FTG is too far to try and make an impact.
Trying to get onto Dan, who's going to have to hop over the wall. He's got a blast cone, however. Can he come back in? He'll decide against it, and the Herald is taken. Nice leash. Thank you, JDXL. It's been a very explosive game thus far, Trouble.
It's just until we say, and it's bot lane again. This time, though, of course, the bot lane tower is going to go down. Side of Singularity, the bot lane tier 1. So JDXL are going to turn the sides to the rest of the map. Mid lane would be the one that I'm assuming you want most. But the problem is you've got 2 relatively short range carries. You've got Kalista and you've got Zeri. And Swain has a bunch of
Spikee, good dodge, but now he needs to try and heal up. Here goes Scrudy, trying to play this one up best he can. Actually, now he's very deep. The young rookie mid laner, his first season of competitive play, his first time back on the stage in a little while. In so much danger, steals away the silent, not the Jin Zhao ultimate. Not enough. Shutdown come through, and that Luden's lack of tankiness really comes back to bite him.
Yeah, he's literally a glass cannon right here, and second needlessly large rod into the inventory right there. This could be a Shadow Flame to break shield and get that extra magic penetration. This could also be a Death Cap. This is what Caps did in the LEC. He went Luden straight into Death Cap, full glass cannon, but if he does connect the chain, somebody dies. Right here, I feel like you have so much damage on the side of JDXL. You've got double AD carries, you've got the Wukong with 80 damage, the Sylas scales so well into the late game, you do not necessarily need to be glass cannon. So for Singularity, coming in with all the replies, yes, JDXL are 3k gold up, but on your side for Singularity, you've got a Gangplank that's scaling, a Zinza that's going to be a mid shield, Meza onto that Swain, who scales up to be such a big problem and nuisance in the front line later on, and of course, the ever-growing Tom and Jerry with the likes of Twitch Hypercar in the late game. Singularity have the answers to team fight later on.
They do indeed, and of course Singularity got a lot of standing gold to get at some point. No towers as yet, and that's obviously hurting Sips. Gonna try and get this one. Couldn't quite get spiked yet in the bot side as Cries will turn up towards the top side, and maybe we'll try and trade this one out. Ooh, Ultra Shade over the wall alongside the Lightning Crash. Gonna try and trade this one out. I think Sips is just gonna say, I need the tower. My life will be forfeit. Gets it and dies.
Solo ball, baby. This time for Cries on the Zeri. Now, the question becomes when you see... Oh, I'm going to stop right here, because that might find Merza.
Does indeed. Has a vision of Empire, and will Warrior Trickster his way back out of that scenario, when Merza will still get a hold of that blue buff. Scrudy stole the one on the other side. Sips has teleport, will be alive in 15 seconds. Ultimate will be a little longer than that, but with 25 seconds on the Infernal Dragon, Singularity, sorry, Hextake Dragon being lied to by the Spectator once more. We have still got a fight on our hands, and I think Singularity might try and contest, but JDXL are here in plenty of time.
Top lane wave is in a really good position for JDXL. Mid lane wave is going to be pushed though by Singularity. This is the most important one. This could actually shove in.
Yeah, Scrudy goes in! That will be the ultimate popped, but what can the Crescent Guard get done? The use of Fate's Call afterwards. Venza left in a difficult position. Merza gonna turn around. The cannon barrage is there. Morozku having a flash away. He's got nowhere to go! Ignited and smited. Sips gets that one, and they've got the mid laner advantage to go towards getting themselves soul point.
Mid lane is pushing for them, and look at all the 8 HP bars from JDXL. They are less than half down. This early game has been absolutely disastrous for them because Singularity are scaling and they've got their win condition right in their pocket. It's going to be that Hextech Soul coming up in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. They've got all the scaling on their side. Cole even on Zpikee. They've got 3 dragons in 4 minutes. They're going to be spiking with that soul as well. And JDXL need to find some answers. That Kalista has not snowballed in the early game. And what I was about to say is, when you usually see marksmen on the top laners, how far can they go in their skill to play these particular champions when you've got players like Venza who are experts at the matter? And here Morosku twice now has gone a little bit more deep. To be fair, I'd rather see this overextension than the a little bit more.
Like, it was looking for the play, it was looking for the flank, and I appreciate. Look, this is a guy in his rookie season. In his rookie split, he went with Team Esca over in the Ultra Liga to EU Masters. He was second. They came second in the rookie split to go to EU Masters. Took a game of Fnatic Team Kelso while they were there as well. One of the tournament favorites, even if that didn't pan out in the end.
They're playing the Super Liga now.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Former NLC team, of course. But this is a guy who's had a very explosive entry to the professional scene, now stepping into some very big shoes, as we said. And it's been a game of high mechanics rookie, shall we say. We've seen some great plays, we've seen some slightly over-eager plays get punished as well, but you can see this guy has talent. He'll need a little bit of settling in, though.
Absolutely, and Torok said it as well in the interview, allow the guy to grow. This is technically his first official game with him integrated into the team. He's not a sub anymore, he's the main starting mid laner for JDXL. Now, of course, the root missing means that JDXL carries can actually step forward and take that tower down. Scrudy always on the side. Cries, level 14, he's the highest member in experience right now, and Scrudy is always looking for these engages. They want to sort of push JDXL into their jungle and away from their mid lane tower. Morosku's on the side, does have the TP to join if needed, and there's going to be huge contention for that mid lane wave because it's all about opening them up. It's all about getting that engage.
Get onto Mirza, but he's so strong. There's the ultimates in trade. Tower taken all the while. Mirza with the demonic ascension rolling. Managed to get a never move though. They're going to go in with Stend. Flash away from the dredge line. But what about the turnaround from Scrudy? He's been a menace all split long since he joined the side of Singularity. And it's a black hole indeed of kills for this jungler. Cry is about to fall down afterwards, a shutdown. Roscu knocked up, falling as well. On the other side, Zpikee about to fall to Venza. He flashes away with the Immortal Shield, but running away from the wind, becoming lightning as well. But there's no escaping the coming storm. Come and speak with Gangplank. He's got a parlay for you, and it equals death.
Only Zpikee goes down for Singularity. This is a call to arms for Baron. Singularity win a fight versus the #1 seed in the NLC. Singularity, last seed, already going into relegations, pulling out these team fights, pulling out this early game, choking out JDXL from any early game proactivity, and taking these fights man to man. Singularity are gonna even out in gold, take the Baron. Minute and a half, there's gonna be the Dragon, which is soul for them, which means having the pure tool of Baron to push the side lane is gonna be so important for them.
What a fight this was, because it looked a little bit messy when you see this initial hook. You think maybe they've got an angle. A lot of ultimates burn, and then the turnaround from Singularity after Mercy nearly gets caught is beautiful to behold.
Actually, Mirza used his route so well to get Morosku away from the fight. FTG melts instantly, has to be pulled back. Cries then gets in, has to instantly flash out. Dan tries to save his carry in the top lane, ends up dying himself. And honestly, JDXL, they look to be into a little bit of crisis. All the engages that have happened this game have not been beneficial for them at all.
And let's talk it through. This is supposed to be the first place team, but for how much longer? Singularity, it was supposed to be a long shot for them to get a single win this split. Scrudy comes in and he starts making plays like the last one. Can he make one here when it might matter as well? He's kind of flanked, but he has got a Crescent Guard and a Yuumi. Means Cries has to spark surge over the wall. FGG gets onto Zpikee in turn, but the rooting back means he is dead to right. Fate's call is a call to his own demise.
We talked about this, it's so difficult. You've got such short range carries, the Kalista, the Silas that has to play melee, Dan on the Wukong that has to play melee. early. Mirza with his Rylas and Leandris is burning anyone and everyone that's going to walk into close proximity to his ultimate. Scrooty with Yuumi on him 24/7. So much utility, speed, survivability, tankiness onto that Xin Zhao. Together with the Swain, it's impossible. It's an impenetrable frontline for Singularity. 2 seconds for that Dragon. JDXL, only 4 members on the map.
Rudy hops forward again. He's been so aggressive with his audacious charge, and isn't that an appropriate name for an ability? They are looking down the glorious, glorious potential of taking down both Bifrost and the #1 team in the league. They've got Soul. Now they must extricate themselves. FGG has respawned to come over the wall. Ultra Shock Laser slows down 3. Scrooty will have a lost chapter. Final chapter, I apologize as I confuse item and ability to extricate himself. And they are 12 kills to 7, 4 Drakes to none, and looking down that sweet, sweet potential of a second victory in the NLC.
I mean, look at the builds. 2.5 items for the Gangplank, 3, 1, and 2 for Sips, level 15. He's actually equalized in levels. Dan has consistently been down in levels to Scrooty. Every time Dan trying to make a play, Scrooty covered and went straight back into his jungle to farm. 2 levels up for the Singularity jungler, 1 level up for Meza. Look at the carries even now, but 2 levels up on person since he's been around Scrooty so much. And FGG, his levels deficit show in this game. The second he gets pulled or CC'd slightly, he has to be pulled back by Venza or he's going to melt like a piece of paper. And again, this paper-thin build from Roscoe, yes, it does a lot of damage, but all the survivability and shielding and healing that's coming from Singularity is just not enough. You can't burst people, you need to stay alive. You need more consistent damage than burst damage. And right now, this is hurting the team.
Lilia, Kha'Zix, who needs those? Let's go with the Xin Zhao. Let's pull off a game like this. Sublime stuff from Scrooty, out jungling one of the best we have in the league. Looking maybe for some more. This mid lane turret remains under siege. Barrel crits onto Cries. His name becoming more appropriate as well. The tears beginning to stream down XL's face in this one. Not a game they thought to lose. Not a game that we thought to see them tie up with Dusty. Not a game that might see them potentially fall out of top 2. They have to be afraid. They have to be worried. That curse from Spring, it might haunt them still.
I just want to remind everyone that if XL loses this game, they tie with Dusty.
Oh, yes.
Now, for now, they have the head-to-head with Dusty. They're 1-0. Next week, let's say Dusty wins and they're equal. JDXL have had most of their losses in the second half of the split, and Dusty have had most of the wins in the second half of the split, meaning Dusty will take first place.
He'll be found. That's not a great Bascone. He's now in a very dangerous position. Cries. Can we turn this around? Maybe we've spoken too soon. Maybe Singularity. Maybe this is the moment they all fall. Still going in. It's a 1v4. But wait, the Yuumi, of course, could offer some healing. Finally shut down. They get 2.
I'm just gonna say, in a 1 versus 4, 3 people limping with less than 50% HP and Dan having a chunk taken off of him as well, looks a little bit dangerous to me for just a Xin Zhao. The scaling that's coming through is absolutely unacceptable from Singularity. Yet again, you'll see Scrooty greeting just a little bit, getting found out by Cries' W. Really nice pop onto the flower right there. I forgot what it is. Blastcone, thank you very much. And again, Scrooty, he's trying for the 1 versus 4. Both Yuumi summoners have been burned very crucially, so these two will not be a factor for the shorter term. And what can JDXL do to come back into this game? The goal dead even. But when we're talking about scaling, when we talk about front to back, Singularity have the upper hand with the Gangplank, the Xin Zhao, Meza on this Swain being the front line, and then Zpikee being able to free fire from the back. Zpikee hasn't even needed the Yuumi.
Like,
it's all about
Spikee's at 1.5 items still. Like, this guy has not really had the easiest time of it, of course.
You know what? Scrooty's like, listen, mate.
I've got you.
When you deserve the Yuumi, you'll get it. For now, forget it.
Exactly. And look, this mid lane right now, Leandri's Demonic Embrace for the ultimate in burn alongside the Ryalize. You've got 3 items on Gangplank. This Xin Zhao, as we said, having a phenomenal game. Honestly, a phenomenal debut into the NLC, coming into this last place team and proving himself to be anything but a last place jungler. They're looking down. 8 seconds on a Baron spawn. They've got the soul, the gold is even, the scaling is with them, and JDXL, yes, you found a bit of a feel-good pick, but it didn't lead to anything but a feel-good pick, and they're going to give away this Baron they can't contest.
Look on your minimap, Dan is backing right now, and he will not be there in time. This is probably going to be a pretty free Singularity Baron, and honestly, JDXL, there's nothing you can do. You have Morosco down the bottom of the map, Kryze is shoving in a wave underneath his tier 2 tower towards the top lane. Then you have Venzer pushing mid, they're not ready to contest, there are no wards, you walk in there blind, with Hextech onto Singularity, you die. Your likely scenario is to maybe catch one more member. Again, that one member will be
Scrooty, not twice in a row, not like this, flashes over the wall though this time and survives. Baron secured still. A minute 15 on the Elder Dragon. Maybe that's where JDXL decide to stand and fight. Kryze at 3 items, can do what they can.
Roscoe's still on the bot side of the map. Now the backs are starting to come in from JDXL. No Nautilus ult, no Kalista ult, only Kryze to defend towards the top side of the map. And as you can see, everyone will be joining very shortly, but the first tower is gone. All that JDXL got out of this is a flash from Scrooty, but I don't think this will be enough to give them the team fight.
JDXL, it's been an unfortunate couple of weeks. We've mentioned the downfall, we've mentioned the potential. Scrooty in a 1 versus 3, but of course it's never a 1 versus 3 because the cat is on his back, and the cat will find the satisfaction, brings him back. Gets the 1 kill, and maybe they can look for a little bit more. There's a reset on the other side as Twitch goes back to base. 30 seconds on the Elder Dragon, and that's where they'll look next.
There is just not enough damage to burn through the shields and the heals. The anti-healing over on JDXL is just not enough. The Kalista did not snowball early enough to be able to take this advantage in the early. Therefore, in the late game, she doesn't throw spears, she throws toothpicks at this point. They do not hurt, they do not stick, and Elder Dragon is coming up in just 4 seconds. JDXL are gonna push mid, but Singularity are grouping up as a unit, and they're gonna enter this Dragon. Guess what? Because they're too beefy and they can just face check like this.
Don Jake better be looking up the M&M store because he's going to need a new jersey after this one, it feels like. Scrooty in again, another audacious charge, and Venza must disappear. Flash out from the visions of Empire, and the vision is of XL's Empire crumbling. They were supposed to be the first place team. They were supposed to be the best. We had 2 splits in a row. The last 2 weeks prove their downfall. Sipped over the wall! Another barrel chain, another moment as that's Venza just resurrecting. The cannon brush brings it down to the backside. Will not secure the flip. Another kill and another moment where XL fall short.
The TPs are coming in the top lane. Singularity are looking to finish the game. Roscoe has to actually TP back into his base to try and save it. Can Mirza push more waves? Look at Singularity grouping up in the mid lane. Open inhibitor for them to take. Huge wave on the top side of the map. They've got Elder, they've got Baron, they've got Hextech, and they're looking to put JDXL in the dirt.
It was David versus Goliath. The Div Tombs better be ready because Singularity are here to stay, it feels like. And JD extra large L today. Another loss for them. Another moment going into playoffs where the questions continue to be unanswered. But for now, they hold. For now, with more and more death onto Scrooty, they won't quite fall yet. They hold on by the skin of their teeth and the fingernails that are getting mighty short.
One Nexus tower and a dream is what stands between JDXL and losing to the last team of NLC. Singularity bringing in Scrooty has given them so much as of a victory versus Bifrost and potentially a victory versus JDXL. These barrels from Sips are insane. He's gonna pop the ultimate as well. Takes the life of FCG, takes the Guardian Angel off of Venza. And even though Dan makes a violent effort right there to try and steal the Elder Dragon, it is again Sips who kills 2, secures the Elder Dragon for his team, and then JDXL have to run for the heals because there were 4 mighty Singularity members chasing them now. With only 1 Nexus tower remaining, Hextech still up on Singularity. Elder buff still up on Singularity. JDXL are gonna have to make a pick after pick after pick. But with Singularity grouping up like this, it's so difficult.
It's not the debut Morosco wanted as the starting mid lane or as a substitute. It's not the last few games that XL wanted heading into playoffs. The doubts remain, the questions about how good is this team, how good is their mental when the clutch moments happen. And Singularity on the side, the players have been switched and their fortunes seem to be turning around when it matters the most. FGG pull back with the face cooldown on the other side has got a Cyclone, but maybe it's not enough. The executions are still there, the Dragons are waving his wings and never move on to 2. Swain gets them all. Mercer falls, Kryze alone, must do what the impossible. He can't do it. Scrooty surely has got another herbaceous charge. A 3, Talon, strike, knock, and you are out. XL fall down. Singularity with a second win. And what a beauty it was.
History repeating itself, NLC. You thought JDXL was good? Well, look at the latter stages of the regular season and you'll see that this is where they usually tend to fall. This is where usually teams learn to read them really well. And I feel like Singularity, Scrooty, studied the early game so well, read them so well, didn't allow them an inch in that early game to snowball that Kalista that Venzer is so known for. And honestly, if I'm a JDXL fan, I'm really worried at this point. They're tied up with Dusty in first place. Right now, because they have the head-to-head, they're still ahead of Dusty, but only the head-to-head is what keeps them on that first place, and they're playing again next Wednesday.
They are...
Or Monday.
Something like that.
Something.
Anyway, another massive upset for Singularity. Another massive question mark above JDXL's fortunes heading to playoffs. Desk, how real is that curse?
Well, I can say something. I think that was a pretty clean game from Singularity right there.
Get me out. Nah, get me out. Bring me to safety. Mom, I need you. Now you better clean all that. You better clean it all.
No, but in all honesty, JDXL losing shockingly, and it was it wasn't a clean game, but it was a dominant game.
It was clean
Singularity had a
because
very good game.
you bring in the Kalista to the bot side versus a Yuumi Twitch. You promised me.
I did. So the thing is,
Keep lying to me today.
I'm not, I promise you. This matchup is unplayable, and it showed. There was a flame horizon, despite being like 10k gold down and 3 dragons down. This matchup is terrible, but somehow, the big problem in this game was somehow Singularity got all the dragons. How would you get all the dragons with the worst bot lane matchup in the game? It is like a Kalista into Yuumi. It's so bad. That's the problem. Then, because of the early game comp I've drawn a blank on the name of the team, JDXL, how do you end the game? You can't. You need Dragon Soul.
And I think this was one of the few good things that happened for JDXL, where Venzer was able to get the solo kill, but instantly afterwards, right, he was shut down by a good rotation from Singularity, who played so well today. And I think that's one thing I want to highlight, because JDXL, yes, they managed to shut down Zpikee, but the problem was that the entirety of Singularity, other than Zpikee, was so far ahead. Scrooty was strong, Sips was strong, Mercer was strong, and obviously Persson, he just jumps on one of the strong carries then, and then it's fine that Zpikee isn't that strong. We see it as well, right? They go in, they get the Drake after their play, and they end up winning this fight as well.
Now, Scrooty is on a different level right now.
Wow, yeah.
We need to highlight this. We usually see Dan getting a level 3 gank on the bot, mid, whatever you want to call it. Scrooty was reading Dan so well this game.
So I do think it is the Scrooty show, especially facilitating with the Yuumi. I think it's a really insane tactic, but I will say a lot of these team fights were made quite easy for Scrooty. It feels like JDXL just aren't on the same page, which is expected, right? There are so many team fights I'm seeing where Morosku is engaging, and then you see FGG getting Kalista ulted and using that to disengage, and everything is just all over the place. There's no like team cohesion in the team fights, and that's where it's really important, because the League of Legends right now, the meta is dragon fights. It always comes down to a dragon fight and how well you execute it.
Question, top laner to top laner, okay, this is important.
Okay.
You see this area on the top side. It seems like a 500 IQ, at least I was told it was. But Kryze has been a beast on the split push as well. He has been really reliable to the team. And when you have a Zeri that doesn't get any sort of platings or farm or reliant support to play with the Zeri, it feels like she's throwing bottle caps at people and not dealing any sort of damage. She was like, it didn't work.
It didn't work, but I feel like this is looking at the wrong thing. I do feel like, yes, the Zeri couldn't play, but that isn't her fault. She's left on an island to scale, and that's what she did. He did scale pretty well. He even got solo kills.
though.
Versus GP, he got a solo kill on GP. But you cannot play this early game draft without dragons. That's the core issue. That is the absolute core issue. Yes, you have scaling. Yes, he did secure plates. He secured 2 plates or something like this from watching into the GP. GP could never barrel contest. Kryze played actually pretty well, except for getting caught that one time and that skirmish topside. But I'm
going to say it.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it.
Go ahead.
You have a pirate that controls almost the entire ocean with the big gun and barrels, where his passive is called Trial by Fire. And on the other side, you have a power bank. I'm gonna let you know. I don't think this was an even matchup, but I need to talk with Singularity. I need to talk with Zpikee as well. My man, look at him. Look at him glowing on that victory. How are you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling great, man. Thank you. It's been rough, but it's going better for sure. It's just a draft gap. Not gonna lie.
Nah, you cannot say it was only a draft gap. Scrooty is on a different level. I don't know what you guys are doing with him, but he was reading Dan, and Dan is not an easy guy to read. How did you pilot into this game? Like, what was the setup for Scrooty and the bot lane as well?
I mean, the plan was completely different than what we ended up doing, right? I mean, they left all of our picks open, so we kind of changed after the first 3 bans. So, I mean, they kind of bamboozled us a bit with the series as well, right? So we got a bit roughed on in the bot lane, but I think my team, especially Scrooty as well, and Sips on the GP played really, really well. So, I mean, it worked out in the end.
And you guys are able to play versus the other team. You read what they want to bring into the game. You adapt into that one. It seems really clean so far. My question is, are you even slightly worried about relegations right now?
Yeah, I mean, with this win, we're confident for sure, right? I mean, we're improving like really at a really fast pace, and but I think it's not really good to be overconfident as well, even though like they're in the lower division. I mean, we're gonna take every team really seriously. I mean, I know there's a lot of talent in that division as well, but I think as mentioned before, people think that they can just come and take our spot, are probably gonna have to start thinking again because we're not leaving. So.
You fought versus JDXL on the first half of the split. You did it again right now after the substitution, the way things changed. Is this the same team for you?
I mean, it's night and day, right? I mean, the entire last team, I mean, I love all those guys, right? They're really, really good people and like really talented players as well. But I mean, the entire situation with lack of time and in the end lack of motivation as well kind of made this change really needed. And I think all this new talent coming in with Scrooty, Sips and Merce and Pearson are like, I mean, it's a huge difference, right? And everybody's eager and want to win, and like that's the biggest difference as well. And now, I mean, we're showing results, so that feels great.
Hey, put on those sunglasses and go enjoy this beautiful day after this beautiful victory versus JDXL. Congratulations. Let's see how you guys fed until the end of the split. See you soon.
Thank you, guys.
They're feeling really confident. This is the first time I get to do an interview with Singularity, and they're looking like this. This is really good to see.
I mean, over the past couple of weeks, they've just gotten better and better, and we have throughout the weeks talked about the substitutions, why they made sense, the fact that some of them have played together before, the fact that some of them have, subbed in a lot recently in their career, so they have learned a lot of adaptability coming into teams mid-split, improving results, and this is what we are seeing now. But I think, again, Zpikee highlights it correctly, the momentum is the most crucial part. Going into the relegation, you want to know that you are a good team, and beating our #1 team at the moment is definitely a way to get some confidence.
So if it's night and day, and with your experience and knowledge, Eragon, tell me, from looking into this sort of JDXL, what do they need to change right now?
I think they just need more practice. They need more practice getting on the same page with Morosku. Sorry, I always forget his name. Morosku, yeah. They need more practice getting. I think it's not fair, right? He just came in. They said they've subbed him in today. They've only had a couple scrims with him. They need more time to get to gel. And I think specifically, if I was the coach, I would target their skirmishing, their team fighting. See, like get on the same page, using this cooldowns at the same time, making sure they're all on the same page when they want to engage and disengage. All these things, I think that's key right now.
Let's see what happens as we're going to talk with Dan from the jungle of JDXL. Welcome back, Dan. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And obviously, this is a rough time for the team, but losing versus Singularity, and we were talking about this. It seems like the team was not on the same pace, or at least on the same page. Was the shot calling kind of weird? Because we saw some people going in. Most of the times it was you going in. The team was not quite ready to follow you up. How are you feeling about this new composition?
I mean, we came in with a plan today and this past week to get all the int out of the way before playoffs. Because obviously last split we ran it down and lost your riddle. So yeah, this is what we're doing. We're just getting all the int out of the way. No, but in all seriousness, like, I think this game was pretty hard for us to play in terms of team fighting. We had to play the fights in 2 waves. There were 2 fights around the 20-minute mark where they wasted, I think, 3 ults, and we failed to disengage and re-engage properly. I think it's just a case of we've only played 2 games with this roster, and Mrozku is more accommodating for the map, but less selfish. So the dynamic of the team and who has to carry and who has the gold is a little bit different. So I just think a little bit of teething problems and it's not just a straight up go in and fight kind of game.
It's the beginning of a new road for you guys, and you still have to understand how you guys can walk before you can run. I need to also understand, from your point of view, you played versus Singularity at the beginning of the split. We've seen them play throughout the entire split. This is a completely new side of Singularity, no?
Yeah, they're so much better, honestly. Like, at the start of the split, it was like, who could speedrun Singularity the fastest with a perfect game, pretty much. Like, who can get closest to 15 minutes, and now they look like actually they can take... I think every game they played with their new roster looks competitive, and maybe they can even take the game. So yeah, I think they look a lot better.
So you played the Wukong, you got the Zeri on the top lane as well. It was kind of a weird champion select coming in for you guys. You got the Zek as well on the previous game. But if you could play any sort of champion right now without Torok annoying you, which champion would you pick? Like your pick?
That's a hard one. Probably Lee Sin.
Lee Sin?
Probably, yeah.
But not a full clear, right?
No, of course not. 3 camps. 3 camps into gank every time.
3 camps, because 3 minutes 31, then I'm...
Are you going to beat me when you do it? That's the question.
I mean, I know we have a setup because you challenged me to do the Lee Sin jungle clear challenge. And you're going to be the one annoying me.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of questions prepared for me?
I've been thinking about it. I don't know what exactly I'm going to ask you yet.
I'm just going to
But I'll keep that to myself for now.
Because I'm not even a jungle, so I don't know what's going to happen with this one. And looking into this defeat, obviously you need to look into the next week. How are you feeling about the next couple of matches?
I mean, obviously, we've had 3 rough results in a row now. So yeah, but I think, like, honestly, we're still a good team. We had a game on Monday, which was extremely close, which was actually winnable for us. Today was not so good, but it is what it is, you know? So I think we're still confident going into it, but we're not as confident as we were at the start of the split.
Seems good. Let's see what happens then. Good luck, and good luck on the Lee Sin Jungle Clear Challenge versus me. I have a plan as well, so you're now ready for what's about to happen.
I hope you're planning for it.
I have dark technology. That's what I'm going to tell you. Nobody brought this one before. Thank you so much, Dan. Have a nice one. I'll see you on Monday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
It's about adapting, about learning how to walk before you can run yet again. It's a complicated match for the JDXL. I believe they're going to be playing versus Dusty, and this is not a team that is playing around. And if they have the opportunity to take the first seed, they'll kick JDXL to the 3rd seed.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a case of, honestly, right now, the 2 front horses are definitely going to be X7 and Dusty, who can come first out of those 2. And I think it's XL, Riddle. I'm not too sure who might else be in contention. They're playing for 3rd seed, for sure.
Interesting. Let's look into the standings to see how this affected JDXL and Dusty tying up at 1st and 2nd seed. But as you can see, Dusty is in 2nd place because JDXL have the upper hand so far versus them. Riddle on the 3rd one. Astral is looking really close, but X7 is climbing non-stop. Nuriki still have an opportunity, and that's what we're going to talk about as soon as we jump into the pre-match between X7 and Nuriki. I know you have a lot to talk about that one, but before you even try, okay, before you even do it,